How are you people? How's it going? I always, as per many of my YouTube viewers, they requested to hear. They wanted to hear my voice, not annoying music and clicking some random Ubuntu videos. Some of my viewers, respected viewers, they did not like it. So I wanted to make an actual video where I'm actually talking and people hearing me. Isn't it cool? Okay, let's stop bullshitting. Sorry. Now I wanted to make a video about Ubuntu Linux itself, the operating system, for people who don't know much about Linux and Ubuntu in general. So I think it's great. Just talk about what Ubuntu is and where to find different things. And if you are coming from Windows or Mac background, then you want to know how to use that up your computer. You don't wanna learn too much detail about the architecture of the Ubuntu or Linux in general. People don't have time. They don't wanna spend too much time learning new things. They just wanna run it. Just wanna use it as soon as possible. I think that's the productive thing actually. So now let's look at what is Ubuntu. Okay, first thing first, Ubuntu is an Linux based operating system. As you can see, I'm now running Ubuntu and I just fired up Firefox browser just to show the official website of Ubuntu. If you type www.ubuntu.com, then it gives you the official website of Ubuntu. Not much. You will not know about the operating system much. It just tells about different things. About if you go to the desktop section, it gives you an very general details about what is Ubuntu for desktops. Learn how the Ubuntu desktop operating system powers millions of PCs and laptops around the world. If we go to Wikipedia, maybe this will give us more hints. Ubuntu operating system. I think it's good to know a little bit about history about the operating system we're going to use. Ubuntu is sponsored by the Canonical, the company who is backing Ubuntu, and is using Linux kernel. Linux is the operating system underlying. Ubuntu is just a distribution of this Linux operating system. So basically what all this, maybe you guys are confused what I'm talking about. Linux is the actual operating system, but the Linux itself is very, you can't see it, like it's behind the door doing all the tasks. It's not the interface you see. It's the, if we give, for example, just give an analogy. For example, if you have a car, you don't usually see the engine of the car. For the driver, you don't usually see it unless you open the front door of the car engine, then you see the engine. So Linux is the actual engine which is driving your car, driving your hardware computer, the operating system, the kernel. Whereas the Ubuntu is the user interface, nice fancy gears and drive shaft and all the meters and everything the driver actually interacts with. So Ubuntu is the whole bundle of different softwares on top of Linux user interface bundle. So Ubuntu integrates many different software, like it uses Ubuntu for its desktop interface. It uses GNOME desktop. GNOME is a desktop available for Linux based operating system, also for Unix. Some of the Unix If you go www.gnome.org, you would know more about GNOME. GNOME is the people behind Ubuntu. GNOME is the actual desktop interface, and it comes with a whole bunch of desktop softwares, not just a desktop environment. It comes with its own file manager, all the basic applications you need to run your desktop environment. It comes with a calculator, things like that, notepad, file manager, so everything. So GNOME is the desktop environment Ubuntu uses, and as well, but Ubuntu slightly customized the environment to suit themselves. They customize the default GNOME interface to look like a little bit unique from other. So they customize it and they call it Unity desktop. The interface you are looking at now is the default Ubuntu interface, desktop interface, Unity. They call it Unity, and I think it's pretty solid for the operating system. I mean, it's not very complex, as you can see. If you compare this interface to a mobile interface, it looks pretty similar. You have a panel on your left, and you can see you can guess these are all your apps. So you can pin or unpin any apps you like, your favorite apps. So if you hover onto this panel, you can see all the available apps, like your favorite apps. But that's not all the apps you have on your computer. Now, a little bit about Linux, why you need Linux. And because Ubuntu uses Linux. Linux is an operating system, open source and it's very widespread in the industry. It's like the engine of the computer world. Just like I give you the analogy of the car engine, you don't really see it, but is the main engine driver of the industry for many industries. For example, internet runs on Linux. Many internet servers like Facebook, Google, they uses their servers for Linux. They uses their they runs their data centers or whatever on Linux. So Linux is used by many things. So you don't really usually see it, but it's everywhere. It's like it's used in mobile phones like Android, used in internet servers, it used in supercomputers. It's everywhere basically. It's a very stable operating system because it's open source and it's collaborated by all the world industry leaders. It's a collaboration based operating system, so it's very updated and very unstable as well. Why I'm saying unstable? Because it's changing constantly, very rapidly, so you have to stick with one version all the time if you want the application to be compatible all the time, because it's changing very rapidly. It's not like Windows. You have Windows 8 and it goes for next 5 years, you don't see, and you have the same operating system and all the apps. Now Linux is always changing. So there's a big challenge for Linux application developers or hardware driver developers to keep up with the development of the Linux, because Linux is since Ubuntu uses Linux, it also inherits, it has all the Linux features. So it's good to know about Linux. Okay, general. There are many different Linux distributions, like bundles for different devices. For example, for laptop computers, for mobile phones, for PCs. Ubuntu is one of the leading, very popular bundle for personal computers. Linux bundle, they call it distribution. So now let's move back to Ubuntu. So if we compare Ubuntu with other operating systems, for example Mac or Windows, Apple OS is now comparatively as much as easy as other operating systems, unless, but in terms of availability of softwares, it's not, maybe you will not find many proprietary productivity suites for Ubuntu because it's not the area where it's targeted. But you could do most of the stuffs if you're a very general user, and if you don't have to use any special, like if you have a productivity softwares and they advertise as Windows or Mac, then that's it. You could not. That's it. That means it's not available for Ubuntu. If it's available, then it's available. As simple as that. In terms of hardware support, it supports Ubuntu supports a wide range of hardware, like peripherals or portable. You can plug in any device. The beauty of Linux or Ubuntu in general, many of the hardwares are detected. You don't have to install any driver most of the time. Like they comes built in with the operating systems, most of the drivers. So you just plug in and start using your device, for example printers or scanners. But in many occasions you have to download drivers from other sources and install it by yourself. It could be a little bit hard depending on the suppliers of these drivers, how they give you. If they give you a very fancy easy user interface to install the driver, then it's easy. Most of the times you have to use a little bit of command line. If you are a normal user, it means you'll be a little bit confused. So anyway, we will be looking at the, so I'll try to make couple of videos about Ubuntu and try to go through all the different applications and useful areas to look at, to know a little bit about your operating system and up and running. Useful maybe, yeah. So let's have a look. First, I don't know where to start. Probably let's look at the interface. So you have on your left, so I think this is the first video. I'm gonna stop here. In the next video let's start looking at the actual Ubuntu, different things, the different things of this. So that's it. Thank you.